Because another factoid for you is they play all over the country. And Long Island, they've played the most in. And this will be their seventh time.
Wow.
Because the people are great, they're great. Everybody, it's like everybody digs each other and we all get along. Strange in this world. But, we all get along and it's because of their attitude. No quit, no limits. Just Matthias is the perfect example of that. And he probably hates me talking about him. But we were driving to his wedding, my son and I, and we hear this thing on the radio that a legless Marine saved a baby from a burning car. And this is before he was a cop.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, it couldn't be. And it was. He was at his wedding rehearsal dinner, went to the burning car, pulled the door off, and then pulled the baby out.
Oh, wow.
And now he's a Suffolk County cop. And you know what? I've never been prouder of anybody than I am of him and his teammates.
Right.
Because they all share no limits. The games, by the way, and all the events are free.
Isn't that amazing? That is really amazing how you got that to be free.
Well, I'm poor. No.
So
I got it to be free because there's good people. We just pass around the hat sometimes. And I have sponsors, Banker Construction's helping us out, Island Sports Physical Therapy. I don't know where we'd be without them. The Winter Brothers help us out. The Long Island Express girls softball team has been a big help along the way. And then you get Long Island Abate, and there's nobody better than them. They are the best. Long Island Abate, the PGR, the U.S. Vets Motorcycle Club. And it's just like the Blue Star Mothers will come in the entrance. Like everybody just kicks in. It's like the way it should be.
Right.
And it's because these guys are always smiling. They can call it the Smile Club. And they're just always smiling and they're right there. So I said, you know what? I got to do a concert maybe to raise money.
Okay.
So I actually called Levon Helm up at the barn. And I actually asked to speak to him, and he called me back. And he said, yeah, maybe I'll do something. And I'm like, this shit is easy. I should be doing this my whole life.
Fundraising is not easy.
Well, Levon passed away from cancer, and we never got that done. But to help me promote it, there were two friends of vets that we make special shirts just for Long Island. We make 100 of them. They go to the team that's playing them and them. So two guys said, we'll model your shirts. Maybe it'll help you a little bit. One was Joe Walsh of the Eagles.
Okay.
Who couldn't be better. He invited Nick Clark after he got hurt, to come and go backstage at a concert. And believe it or not, Joe runs Vet Aid, which is a big concert for veterans. He's a Gold Star family. His father got injured in Okinawa and died from the wounds.
Oh, wow.
Nobody knows that. And the other one was the great Jim Gandolfini. And he could never do enough for vets. And the last time I was telling you, we had his special Cadillac that he used to drive in veteran parades. He bought it off the junk heap at Silver Cup Studios. The hood didn't work. And his boyhood friend, Tom Richardson, he brought it out. And he used to tell us how Jim would drive this thing down the middle of Manhattan at a parade, and vets could sign it. And Tom brought it out, and everybody on the team signed the hood. And it was like super cool.
That is super cool.
So make sure you tune in to the Many Saints of Newark, which will be coming out October 1st, because Jim's son Michael, who's a friend of the team, is in that movie.
Oh, wow.
He plays the young Tony Soprano. Back we go.
All right.
So anyway, it's all these people, that are just throwing money in the hat, whatever. To be honest, every one of these players lives in a different place. And they believe so strongly on this no limits, no quit, push on, that they'll leave their jobs Friday afternoon. Some go to jobs, some are college, some don't work. And, we're talking about bilateral amputees. Greg Reynolds will be joining us, the fabulous Guinness World Record holder.
He's so amazing. He's so cute. He's so cute.
As my uncle would say, he's the cat's nuts.
Meow.
But,
Meow.
all right, there I go again.
Joe had another brain fart.
Yep. Oh, we were talking about some of the good people. Oh, where they live. So they all live in separate places. They get on a plane Friday afternoon. They go to the destination where they'll be for a weekend, and by Sunday night they're home. And they play these games to inspire people, to know that there's no limits out there.
Right.
And they raise money along the way. But when you think about it, we'll be bringing in 15 players from all around the country, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, California, and they do this on the weekends. And they do get paid. They get a $70 a day per diem. So they're not doing it for that. These guys drink $70 worth.
Yeah, probably in 5 minutes, like me.
Well, by noon. But
I'm in.
so they're doing it to spread the word, and the word is good. And it costs money to bring them in, but these people I mentioned help. Everybody helps. It's a Long Island event. Everybody's in there, man. It's with your heart. So, so they all come in. They go back home. Any money they raise that doesn't go to travel, the team hosts a 1-week camp called Kids Camp. And we'll let Greg talk about this a little bit. And on Kids Camp, they invite and pay for 20 children missing a limb and a parent for a week. And they become their mentors. All right? And I'm not going to give it away. Well, we'll let Greg give it away. But all of a sudden, these kids that thought they were monsters or people made fun of them, they're normal again.
Yeah.
And that was one of the 2 episodes on HBO. The first one is the one I saw, and HBO has a great one with the late Frank DeFord showing Kids Camp. You can look at it on YouTube, something like that. And Sports Illustrated also called these guys America's Team.
Nice.
So it's not like we're hiding in a closet. We're out there. They don't blow their own horn enough. So I'm the horn blower today.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Well, they're great. It's great. That's why you got to come and see it. That's why we make it free.
I will.
And when you come to the games, the other thing you have to know is we open the field after the game. You go up and meet them, talk to them, and I'll tell you a quick story. Josh Wegge, Captain America, he's a bilateral amputee. And he's like Matthias. When he was 19, he was a Marine. So after the first game that we played in Cinema Riches with Eddie Morris, the great Ed Morris, a woman came up to me, and it was like 90 degrees, and she had a son wearing dungarees. And she said, would you take my son over to meet Josh? And I said, of course. I took the kid over. I realized he's limping a little bit. And she says, Timmy just lost his leg to cancer. And Josh talked to the kid. And when the kid came back, he grabbed his mother's hand, and he said, Mommy, I'm not afraid to wear shorts anymore. Now, is that a home run or what?
That is.
That's what
amazing.
this is about.
Aw,
It's helping those that need help.
I want to cry.
Go ahead.
No.
And for
Yeah,
them, it's continuing their service. They didn't sign up to be Marines to get hurt and just disappear.
Yeah.
They're continuing their service as they keep going on. And this is a good way they do it. They give back to the community
It's
at
very
every turn.
inspirational. Very, very inspirational.
You don't even know. We should bring them all in here one day.
We should. We can arrange that.
Except we can't get them in. So that's where, if you give, that's where the money goes. And again, the website is warriorsny.org. The Facebook is WWASTNY. And let me tell you what's coming up real quick before I give it back to you. Usually we do it's the weekend of July 16th through 18th. Usually we do a golf outing, and it raises a good amount of money. But this year we sort of felt, along with the team, the kids were getting the short end of the shift here with the COVID and masks and this teacher staying home and that one's not. And, too much bullshit for a kid. So we decided that we're going to have...
$5 in the curse jar.
Okay. But we're doing 2 free clinics for kids, age 5 through 12. It'll be Friday at 2 o'clock. One is going to be in Bayport, at the Bayport Commons, which is at... Lee Lynch bothers me, I don't give the addresses. 419 Middle Road, and it can all be found on the website. And the Patchogue Little League Complex. You have to register, though. It's all on the website. You register because we need a waiver. It's not really going to be a baseball clinic. It's a meet and greet for kids. And these kids, like, at first they're afraid, and all of a sudden they have a superhero.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that for 2 groups of kids. So sign up. Again, it's free. Sorry. Then we're having a game in Bayport at the Bayport Commons. That's free. We'll have a little speech. I think they got the bagpipe guys coming in there.
Wow.
That's always nice. But then the coolest thing, we're having a fundraising barbecue. Now, this is no cost. You don't have to pay a nickel. We do appreciate donations, but there'll be free hamburgers and hot dogs. And they're paid for, prepared by the Suffolk County Police veterans. How cool is that?
That's very cool.
They're giving back too. Everybody gives back to this stuff. It makes everybody a better person. But if you want beer, we're selling beer. And we'll have raffles, all that good stuff. And you get to mingle with the guys, get an autograph. And then we have Sunday, which is just the big show. There's nothing better. All right, this is where they'll start around the hotel, probably have 80 plus motorcycles escort the team bus, provided by the Winter Brothers. It's the big jet bus. And it's Long Island Abate, led by the Patriot Guard, the Veterans Motorcycle Club. I think we had about 80 last year. And the best part is when they get to the field, they come right up the sidewalk with the team. And then we have a procession. So we maybe have Boy Scouts. I know the Blue Star Mothers are going to be there, and they're just wonderful ladies. So if you have a civic group and you want to march in support of these guys, you got to call me. Text me. I don't answer my phone.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, 631-840-7787. If you got like 5, like we're trying to get some, actually, there's an American Legion post coming out from Forest Hills to march in with the team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it becomes,
Very
the
cool.
team comes in, then Dan Murphy. If you guys don't know Dan Murphy, you should learn about his son Michael, because they're building a Navy SEAL museum that's almost done. But Dan says a few words to the troops, and if you don't know who Michael is, do you know who Michael is? Well, the Murph was named after him, which we'll talk about with Greg.
Okay.
But Michael Murphy his death unfortunately was depicted in the movie Lone Survivor. He went up to call for help, and he's from Patchogue. Half of Patchogue's named after Michael Murphy. So Dan is building a Navy SEAL cadet center, training center, and if I get it wrong, Dan, forgive me. But it's a beautiful thing. I think they still have bricks. If you want to put your name on a brick in the walkway, the team bought a brick from Dan. So the Wounded Warrior Amputee softball team is going to be a brick in the wall.
All right.
And the game is great. I think we'll have a little surprise. It's the Long Island All-Stars. The games go quick.
Yeah, I believe
But we're actually going to have a very special raffle auction
Okay.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
We're going to call it the shirt off their backs. Now, you don't want...
Ooh, I'm going to strip somebody down.
You don't want this. It's not my shirt, trust me. But it'll be a silent auction. We'll have every player's name on a pad.
Okay.
And you can bid whatever you want for their jersey. Bids start at $50.
Can I rip the shirt off of somebody?
You can do it with your teeth. But
I will.
you probably would. But so whoever's high bid for each guy's jersey will go on the field right after the game. They'll take off his jersey, sign it, give it to him, take a picture, and it's a great way to take something home. But I'm going to let you talk in a minute because I think this is your show.
Well, my show is basically for people to promote what's going on, and I want them to talk. I want you guys
But
to you too.
the one thing I don't want every year after they come, every year, somebody says, I wish I would have known I'd be there. So
Well-
if you go on the Facebook page, share it. Share the events. There's event pages. We try and put out as much information as possible, so share it. We want a big-ass crowd, the biggest crowd yet. And we want everyone to know, because I don't know if there's another rodeo in this for me. I'm getting a little long in the tooth after 9 years.
Stop. You're going to do another 10.
Nah. And we
Anyway.
have Michael Grooven Green singing the national anthem.
Yeah, Mikey.
Retired Army Ranger.
Woo!
And Will Bart and Guido. Guido's my cousin, my godson.
Okay.
And they've been announcers for the games. Sunday game. And Will Bart is He's also the leader of Johnny in the Basement, which is a local band, and he's playing with Ernie in the band. I think they're going to be at Blue Point Brewery Thursday the 16th, and I might be stopping there with Greg Reynolds.
Nice.
So, you want to check them out, and they do a great job. But everybody does a great job. And before we go on, I'm very grateful for the people of Long Island because they come out for this. And over the 6 visits, we've raised $300,000, which goes towards
do you
kids
like
camp.
that?
But you know what? That's not a big deal. You know what's cooler? After 10 years, Long Island Abate, which is one of the greatest groups, is coming close to $1 million.
Nice.
Now, you should have them in here talking about that.
I shall.
Because they have the 3-for-1 match. I mean, and they're great supporters of us. I was telling you, Greg Reynolds. Is Greg here yet? Let's get
Hold
Greg
on.
in.
First, let's take a commercial break. While we're commercial breaking, then we'll bring Greg on.
And I'll come up for air.
Yeah, he could come up for air. Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. ALJ Service Center, 2100 Belmore Avenue in Belmore. Ray and the crew have an outstanding reputation in the Belmore community, built by hard work, honesty, and professionalism. ALJ specializes in computer diagnostics for today's modern automobiles. Whether it's domestic or foreign, ALJ assures your vehicle is at peak performance when it leaves. ALJ also offers expert restoration and repair on vehicles as well as antique, classic, and muscle cars. Call ALJ for your automotive needs. 516-409-4433. Once again, that number is 516-409-4433.
This is Jerry Ann Casola. She has just finished working on a collection of short stories about the love and joy rescue animals can bring. Each chapter contains a message about how people should and could be kinder to animals. The book is rated G, meaning family friendly. To order Life in the Pits, send $13 to paypal.me/Jerry-Ann Casola.
My circus, not my monkey. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey see. Yeah, but I ain't you.
Pit of Our Souls, a nonprofit animal rescue that deals primarily with pit bulls but will never turn away any dog, no matter what breed or size. Their primary focus is not only to rescue and rehome those in need, but to educate and rehabilitate to prevent the cycle from continuing. Pit of Our Souls offers boarding, training, and as much assistance as possible to those in need. Call Pit of Our Souls 516-308-6221 or check out their website www.pitofoursoulsrescue.com. And
Oh!
wow, and we're back with Joe Bart, and right up on the screen
Grego, I see you.
is Greg Reynolds. Hi, Greg.
How you doing? I'm good.
Everything's good over here. How's things?
Good.
Everything's good?
Yeah, we're getting crazy thunderstorms right now. So other than that, hopefully we have power through this interview, So
Where
hopefully Mother
you?
Nature's good to me.
Where are you at?
I'm in Dayton, Massachusetts.
Oh wow.
So about 30 minutes south of Boston.
Okay. And you're getting hit with the thunderstorms?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what Greg is? What do I call you? You're the force of nature. There's nothing this guy can't do, man. He's great. And with that said, he's also a member of the Wounded Warrior Amputee softball
Yes.
team. He's the center fielder. He is a part of the no-fly zone. The no-fly zone is him and Nick Clark.
Okay.
And that's because no balls land between them. And if you want to see a guy with wheels, Greg has got wheels too. But he's also, it's all right. He looks nice today. You got your hair done nice.
He got his
Also,
hair done,
part of the
dude.
new Fly Zone gig is when they're staying at my house, they empty all the bourbon. And that's a... and that's
Throw me
pretty
under the
good.
bus, so.
I'm in.
No bourbon safe. And Greg had been... He's a Guinness World Record holder.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But also, he's a very accomplished golfer. Now, I tried to give these people clips of you golfing, but
Nobody
Not-
has Dropbox.
Tell us about your golf and how that's been progressing.
So obviously, as you know, golf's really difficult with two arms and all your limbs. But now you take away a fifth of your body, and it's that much harder. So I continually get better at golf due to just learning the proper mechanics, and I have a pretty good golf game despite my limitations. And I have to say that the TB12 program here in Boston has really helped me elevate my game to a whole new level. And I just utilize these efficient methods that they have shown me that I didn't know exist prior to even with all my limbs. So it's a whole new world, and I continue to shock and awe people on the golf course every single time I go out.
And he shoots well. At
Yeah,
our golf
yeah.
outing, he was like the longest drive you'd compete with. How far can you drive a golf ball?
About 230, 240
Not
on the
bad.
good one.
I'm lucky if I get it off the ground.
Wow. Greg too, maybe. No, I'm only kidding. Anyway,
He's bad. He's very bad.
before I digress,
Yeah.
because you're a very motivational guy, why don't you give us your sort of steps towards a goal, how you start? I mean, we're going to go back and talk a little bit about your past, if you don't mind. But your mental process when you want to achieve something, because he's achieved so much. Like we were just talking about Dan Murphy, and she
Yeah.
didn't know about Michael Murphy. But Greg achieved the Murph, right?
Yeah, yes.
Well, tell us
That's,
your mental preparation, like when we broke the record, which we'll talk about. What's your mental preparation when you focus in on that goal?
So with me, I've been a very goal-oriented person my whole life, even before my injury. So once I get a goal in my vision, I develop a roadmap of how I plan to attain that goal. And it's small steps to eventually come and accomplish that goal. So I always move towards that goal no matter how big or how small it is. And, for example, like I just did the Pemi Loop, right? So the Pemi Loop is 31 miles in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and it is rugged terrain, and it's very, very difficult. And most people do it in the 3-day backpack event. And I set out to do it in a single-day event with a couple of my friends who are ultra marathoners, by the way. They do 50 to 100-mile races, like 24-hour races. And I'm nowhere near an ultra marathoner, but I just wanted to attain the Pemi Loop. So in order to get to that level, I was training every single day, just working on like high intensity training, getting my conditioning ready to go. And I always say, and I believe that if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So part of our success and part of my success in setting and achieving goals is I see it before I achieve it, which is very, very powerful thing.
Nice.
And I try to share that with a lot of people, because if you don't believe in yourself and if you don't see yourself accomplishing that goal or said goal, it's highly unlikely that the closer you get to it, that you'll ever even finish that goal, because it gets very hard the closer you get to that goal, depending on what it is.
Wow.
Well, let's go back when I said, Greg, let's break a world record. And we picked a world record that I thought was extremely difficult, and I will let the secret out, but then we want to hear about your preparation. Greg, at the Hospital for Special Surgery, they set it up for us. We had a good crew there that day, but he's recognized by the Guinness Book of Records. He did 54 one-arm push-ups with a 42-pound weight on his back in a minute, okay? I can do that over the course of a year. But after we talked about it and we decided to give it a go, put me inside your head.
All right, so when you first told me that, I love doing push-ups, and even with two arms, I would do one-arm push-ups. So one-arm push-ups was not an unknown thing to me. I was doing them for a long time prior. I could do 5 with my left arm, 5 with my right arm before I got hurt. And so after my injury, I started doing one-arm push-ups, and I got really good at them. And Joe here is aware of that, and He contacted me back in what 2018, about end of 18.
Yeah.
He contacted me.
Took a while till we got it done, but go ahead.
Yeah, and he was saying, "Hey, Greg, I found a guy who's in Norway. He's got the Guinness World Record, but he's got 2 arms." And he's like, "Do you think you can beat this record?" And he's like, "It's a 1 arm push-up record, but it's 40 pounds on your back." And I immediately thought, I'm like, "Oh man, I do a lot of body weight push-ups, but 40 pounds on my back is probably going to be very strenuous, as I'm a
What do you
150
weigh?
pound
What do you
man,
weigh?
so that's going to be difficult for me."
What do you weigh, Greg? So how
Right now I weigh like
how much?
I weigh 147.
So really, this thing was almost
147 pounds.
this thing was like a high percentage of your body weight. That weight.
At the time of the world record, I weighed in around 151.
Okay.
151 pounds on the world record, yeah.
So
that
it was almost a
essentially
third of your
uh,
body on top of your body.
Correct. Exactly. So when you told me about that record, what did I say? I said, "Joe, let me beat it in training before we commit to this," because I wanted to make sure I had a really good shot. When I set out something, I don't have any doubt in my mind that I'm accomplish it. So I wanted to make sure I could accomplish this world record. So in Florida, beginning of 2019, I think I reached out to you and I said, "Joe, I just surpassed that 54 number with a 30-pound weighted vest." So I said, "All right, sign me up for it." And once you sign me up for it, I came back and I got with a professional trainer right here in Boston, and we just hammered it out. We set a goal, a training plan, and we just increased every single week. It was a 2-week interval. So 2 weeks I would do 30 pounds, then 2 weeks I would do 40 pounds, and then 2 weeks I would do 50 pounds, and it was recycled over 6 weeks at a time. And I just did volume. I'm talking about thousands and tens of thousands of push-ups. I was doing training for this world record.
Did you ever doubt you were going to do it?
There's always that. No matter what you do in life, there's always some point in the atmosphere or your mind that's always the dark side. And the dark side was not all the time, but once in a while it was right there letting me know like what could go wrong, and I truly believe when you train so much that no matter what situation you're in, you rely on your training no matter what, and your training will bring you through the dark time of the uncertainty and doubt that you experience in anything that you do.
How could you not love this guy?
I
I
love
will
him.
tell
I
you,
think
when
he's
we were
great.
there, and it was a very tense moment.
Oh,
You know, obviously more tense for Greg than everybody else, but Nick, part of the new Fly Zone, my cousin Nicole Fisher was there. She helped actually get the timekeepers because we had to do it to Guinness standards.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to charge me $12,000 to have some dude walk down the block. I'm like, not happening.
Yeah, no, I don't think
But
so.
we ended up getting MMA timekeepers, but that's not the point. When Greg was getting set to do it, like we had to weigh Greg and then weigh the pack, then weigh Greg with the pack. You know,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
all documented. And when he got set, I'm like, I hope his back foot doesn't slip. I hope they didn't wax his floor this morning.
Lord.
Because we were so pumped, and the New York City Fire Department gave us a ride over there.
Oh,
We went back and
sick.
ate in a firehouse afterwards.
That is cool.
But, and then when it was done, Greg broke the record. He stopped, right? Caught your
Yeah.
breath, and then went on and broke it by more. Tell me about it.
So, in my mind, the guy's record was 46. And in my mind, I wanted to beat it straight up without, because it's in a minute, you can stop. You can stop in that minute. So I wanted to break it without stopping. And as soon as I got to 47 push-ups, which the timestamp was 42 seconds, I was at 47 push-ups. I stopped, took a break. I was very happy inside. And I was like, all right, let's pump out some more. And I just stuck my nose to the grindstone. And I just kept going. Because I was so locked in. There was nothing stopping me. And when I set out for this world record, it was my goal to hold it my whole entire life, because I don't want anyone coming after that. Because I didn't choose to lose my arm, but I'll be damned that I don't hold the one-arm world record, and I just think that record is for someone that essentially is in a situation that only has one arm. If you ask me, that's just my opinion.
It was
Amazing.
It was
Totally
amazing. And
amazing.
You know when he got the certificate? At the Abate Christmas party. Jim Barr gave it to him, right?
Yes, that's correct.
It goes a long way. I'm going to backtrack for a minute later.
I like this. He does the whole show for me.
What? Tell us a little bit about what goes on at kids camp. And you know where I'm getting at. You know, thinking about somebody like Greg's injury and the kids there. And how liberating it is when you teach a child without a hand or an arm to tie their shoe. I mean, they don't need Velcro. They don't need their parents. It's an incredible thing. And this is what Greg and his teammates are all about.
I need Velcro.
Give us some insight into kids camp, Grego.
Okay, so Kids Camp is a very special event that my team and I are able to be a part of and give back. And it's a very powerful thing for us veteran amputees to be able to give back to the youth and teach them, even though they're missing a limb or two, that they can do things regardless what society says they can or can't do. And I know for myself, when I was first injured, I lived in a hooded sweatshirt for the first year. I didn't want anyone to know my arm was gone. I was very self-conscious. I had lost the sense of self. So picture these kids, 8 to 12 years of age, and they're the only kid in their school missing an arm or a leg. And so far their whole life, either they're born like that or injured very traumatic at a young age, that they're the different one. They're the one in the school of maybe 1,000, 2,000 kids that are missing the limb. They're the only one. So they fight the same thing. Like, they don't want to be looked at. They don't want to be made fun of. And constantly they're different than their peers. So these kids come to our camp, and for the first time in their life, I'm going to say that they realize that they're not alone, that they're around other amputees. And this week is pretty cool because the people that are different are the people with all their limbs. People, the volunteers and family that are there, and people that come out to watch the games. So the children get to relax, enjoy, and now they meet other kids the same age that are fighting similar circumstances, like struggling with identity or image issues, and they're not alone. And these kids are very, very amazing because after that first day or two, they come out of their shell and they're very talkative, and it's a beautiful thing to see these kids start interacting and putting the limitations they have behind them and trying new things, like whether it's catching a ball or hitting the ball or running around the bases. Maybe they lost their legs and they've never been able to run around from home plate to third base. They've never thought they could do that until they come to camp and they see someone like Josh Wegge or Matthias missing both their legs, and they're just going around fine. And just there's so many motivating factors throughout camp that the kids get to pick up and bring so much stuff back home with them. So, being one of the only arm amputees on a team, I work with the arm kids, and I see these kids come in, and most of them, never had the opportunity to learn how to tie their shoes, or maybe they tried to play baseball back home, but their coach has never seen a kid missing an arm. They don't know how to tell them, hey, you need to do a glove flip, or you got to hold the bat like this. And so I work with them throughout the week, and then I ask the kids, I say, all right, who wants to learn how to tie their shoe one-handed? And like the kids like, oh, I do. And so I put a little class on, and once those kids learn how to tie their shoe one-handed, like once they get it, that moment they get it and they look up and they realize they just tied their shoe for the first time in their life, like it's such an amazing feeling and sight to see that child look up to their mom and dad and just fill with joy that they don't need their mom or dad to tie their shoe anymore, because now they can do it themselves. And that sense of accomplishment radiates throughout the camp in many different levels.
Wow, that's what it's all about. It's all about confidence, no limits, pushing on. That's what Greg is about. That's what the team is about. That's what Kid Camp is about. And anybody who doesn't come out to see them play and walk on the field and give Greg a hug is missing a whole lot of good.
I'll give him 2, maybe 3.
You don't want any hugs from her. Young girls come out, Gregory. But,
Not old bats like me.
Nah,
Wait a
I'm
minute,
politically
you.
correct. No trannies though.
That
Sorry,
I'm not.
Greg.
Wow.
I'm assuming
This-
he doesn't want it.
Okay.
But with everything Greg's achieved,
Okay.
and like I said, there's a team of Gregs. All right, it's magic. It's magic. You even see like older people that maybe they're watching these guys play and they're crying for happiness because they're spreading magic, man. And if you don't get it, then maybe you should go read a book somewhere. I don't know what you should do. But Greg, let's go way back.
Hold
Tell
on.
us.
Let's take a fast commercial break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
Commercial.
Yeah, I got sponsors.
ALJ Service Center, 2100 Belmore Avenue in Belmore. Ray and the crew have an outstanding reputation in the Belmore community, built by hard work, honesty, and professionalism. ALJ specializes in computer diagnostics for today's modern automobiles. Whether it's domestic or foreign, ALJ assures your vehicle is at peak performance when it leaves. ALJ also offers expert restoration and repair on vehicles as well as antique, classic, and muscle cars. Call ALJ for your automotive needs. 516-409-4433. Once again, that number is 516-409-4433.
This is Jerry Ann Casola. She has just finished working on a collection of short stories about the love and joy rescue animals can bring. Each chapter contains a message about how people should and could be kinder to animals. The book is rated G, meaning family friendly. To order Life in the Pits, send $13 to paypal.me/Jerryann Casola.
I'm just a lone, love-torn, struck by a hole in my heart. Oh, not my circus, not my monkey. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey see. Yeah, but I ain't you.
Pit of Our Souls, a nonprofit animal rescue that deals primarily with pit bulls but will never turn away any dog, no matter what breed or size. Their primary focus is not only to rescue and rehome those in need, but to educate and rehabilitate to prevent the cycle from continuing. Pit of Our Souls offers boarding, training, and as much assistance as possible to those in need. Call Pit of Our Souls 516-308-6221 or check out their website www.pitofoursoulsrescue.com.
And we're back with Greg Reynolds and Joe Bart.
Greg Reynolds, a force of nature. To take you back a little bit, Greg is he has a company called Making Lemonade.
Okay.
And he's a motivational speaker. So when you're on Googling or when you're on Facebook going WWASTNY to find out more, check out Making Lemonade. I mean, if this guy has me ready to run through a wall. I was ready to lose weight for Greg. But then he went away and I got fat again. But his story is amazing, like most of his teammates. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your injury? This is a pretty, if you don't mind, it's a pretty intense
no
thing.
doubt, no doubt. So in short, I was in Iraq during the invasion, 2003, 2004, as a driver machine gunner. Saw a lot, did a lot. Very, very lucky to make it back in one piece. And prior to my second deployment, a few years later, I was riding my motorcycle on a Sunday afternoon when a driver took a left in front of me, and in 3 seconds, I went from being in control of my life to fighting for my life. For what I'm told, the scene was very graphic, and everyone that was on the scene said that this kid isn't gonna make it. And so multiple injuries. Arm was only hanging on by a little bit of muscle. My not to get too graphic, but I read the report after, and it said my collarbone was truncated 180 degrees, sticking out of my back. My heart was exposed, subclavian artery severed, a long list of injuries. I was in a coma for 6 weeks. 101 units of blood products. I mean, all against all odds, against all odds. And it was a long, hard road to recovery. But once I started coming out of the coma, I describe it like a bad dream. You know when you're having a bad dream and you're yelling for help, no matter how hard you yell, that nothing's coming out of your mouth. Then you finally sit up in bed and you take a deep breath, and then you wipe the sweat from your forehead and realize that was a bad dream, right? Then you can't go back to sleep. For me, being in bed for those 6.5 weeks, all my muscles are atrophied, broken bones in my neck. I couldn't talk, tubes down my throat. I could see people, but I couldn't talk to them, and I was literally like stuck in a bad dream. And I was so weak, I couldn't even sit up. Like, it was such a terrible, terrible time that, I wish that no one goes through something like that. But once I was continuing to get better, then that's when the recovery started. And, one step forward, 2 steps back. And once they were telling me, with the traumatic brain injury too I sustained was pretty horrific. They said I may never know who my mother is. And my ability to have a conversation is very, very slim. So nothing was going for me. But, through hard work and determination and the medical field and just positive affirmations and all that good stuff, I was sent to rehab for the next couple of months. And then that turned into a rehab for like the next 2-3 years, learning how to walk, talk, eat, do everything like I was a newborn baby again. And it was a very, very frustrating time in my life. I was 24 years old. I thought I left death behind me in the war zone, but it hit me at home on the front, and I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that it was another veteran who pulled out from that stop sign and essentially did what the enemy tried so hard to do, is either kill or dismember, a military service member. So I had a lot of thoughts going through my head, but with the great support from friends and family and my medical team, we set small goals, and those goals turned into bigger goals, and I was able to have a full recovery, I would say, after about 5 or 6 years, and I still push forward. And I'm on top of the mountain now, but to get to that place, I went through a deep, dark hole. I didn't even know what depression was until my injury. All I knew was the life that I fought for and the life that I worked hard to establish was as mangled as my once pristine body. It was just really, really tough, and I struggled with my image and ability to need help to do everything. It was just a very, very low point in my life, and I'm so happy that I pulled through all those odds to be where I am today.
Did you ever think of ending it? Did you get any negative thought? Because I know Gwen had a talk with you. His mother's a wonderful lady, and she's a big part of your recovery. And, she had told you that. Am I right? That, if you don't want to go on, Greg, I understand.
Yes, she, as hard as it is for a mother to see her son go through something catastrophic like this, especially when she was really worried about me being in Iraq and all that. And I never cried so much in my life. Everything to me was gone. And she said, she's like, Greg, I was suicidal. I know I don't have the intestinal fortitude to kill myself, but those thoughts ruminating in my head, I just want them to go away. It was just such a hard time for me. And she had told me, she said, Greg, if you still feel this way in a year, I'll find a way to help you take you out of your misery. And as soon as she said that, something clicked in my mind, and I'm thinking, maybe this is a temporary thing. And for my mom to say that, maybe she sees something I don't. So I took her word, and I gave some time, and I just continued to work on my goals. Goals. Go to rehab, come home, go to school, rehab, work out. It was just like set goals. Go out to the mailbox, get the mail, come back in, do a flight of stairs. Like, that was the small things. And it was like, okay, now instead of the mailbox, just take a right, go down the street. All right, then a couple months, let's go down the next street. So it just turned into multiple things and just increasing the progress in all areas of my life. Not only physical, but the cognitive aspect of going back to college really played a big part in my TBI recovery. So she said that to me, and it helped kickstart. I didn't want to die, but I wanted that feeling to go away. And I have to say that the VA having me in therapy was a godsend, because I had a really good therapist, and he helped me work through a lot of evil stuff, man.
Okay, we're just almost out of time. Joe, the event is?
All right. The event's July 16th, 17th, and 18th. The games and barbecue are on the 17th. The Super Sunday is on the 18th.
And where is this all?
The games are in Bayport, and the barbecue's
Okay.
in Bayport. The game is at the Medford Athletic Complex. Facebook, WWASTNY. Internet, www.warriorsnewyork.org. Google Making Lemonade. You can Google the Guinness Book of Records and see Greg. And you're looking forward to it, buddy.
Yes, go.
All right.
I can't wait to see it. Thanks.
I got
And it's only because I love him so much that I ask him these questions. I knew the answer, but I wanted everybody to see.
Of course.
What a guy this guy is.
All right. I need to thank my sponsors, which is Ray from ALJ Service Center. We have Russ and Joanne from the Hitman Blues Band. Pit of Our Souls Rescue. I need to thank you, of course, for being here. I really appreciate
I'm only
it.
here because of him. If he
Greg?
wasn't here, I wouldn't have.
We love Greg. Greg is great. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Come meet Greg.
I
gotta
met
come.
Greg once before.
I'm not
but
talking about you. You're two people watching.
How's that for, Anyhow,
Greg, we'll talk.
got to thank my viewers, because without the viewers, we don't have a show.
Don't have shit.
I will see you next week, and my viewers, I'll see you guys next week too. Have a good one.
Greg, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.